You guys are good? Cool. Hey everyone, we're back again to do another Destiny deck tech. We have a new partner today. I think we'll be switching people up, but this is Seth. He's done a lot of other videos here, so if you want to...
Yeah, so this is my Baze Rebel Troopers decks. It runs one of Baze, 2 Rebel Troopers, and the battlefield is Rebel War Room, which says resolve one of your dice. If it has a resource cost, you do not have to pay for it. So the goal of this deck is to basically suit up Baze, get him to roll as many dice as possible since he has lots of damage on his die. And then his special allows him to deal damage to multiple characters, which against like E Palpatine isn't good, but...
A lot of other decks it can be. And Baze has a lot of hard damage sides too, so if you don't roll a special, which is only one side, you're still outputting a decent amount of damage.
Yep.
It's all ranged, so you're never having to worry about like multiple type of damage types, like some of the red blues or the red yellows have, depending on what you're running. So you will notice this is mono red, so you're not going to see anything but red cards. So apparently on this channel we love to do mono videos because the last one we did was Palpatine. So eventually we'll break off into more than one color, but you'll see why this War Room is really important for this deck later because of the cards in it, and even some of like the faces you're seeing now, like doing 3 damage on a resolve or on a battlefield claim is pretty good, especially since you're going next turn. But we're going to start off with upgrades, so
yeah,
lay them out.
First, we are running 2 of the DH-17 blaster pistol. Basically just a cheap little upgrade for Baze, getting to roll on extra dice and whatnot.
Solid first turn play.
Yep. Also, these ones you usually don't mind if you want to put them on a Rebel Trooper to deal a little more damage.
That's something we didn't talk about too. The Rebel Troopers having Guardian is like, we're just basically trying to keep Baze alive.
Basically, you roll Baze first, hope to get a bunch of damage, and once your opponent rolls their dice, roll your Guardian guys, and hopefully be able to cancel some huge damage and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So after that,
you can keep them out.
Oh, cool.
That way we can see them. That way, if they like stop the video, they can build it again if they're too lazy to go look at the deck, which will be linked after we're done.
Cool. So we also have the A180. This is another one with lots of damage sides, and then 2 special sides, which allows you to do some cool things. Deal 1 damage to a character, give attached character 1 shield, a little extra defense. Deal 1 damage to each of an opponent's creatures, or characters. Sorry, I'm used to magic terms. So that's good if you're playing against a kind of storm-heavy deck like mine with multiple characters. And then deal 2 unblockable to a character, which pretty good. Unblockable, I found, is just
it's
so
annoying.
good.
Like Vibro Knights right now are just super crazy. This card's nice in a lot of ways. So 3 cost upgrade, can't be balanced with Imperial Inspection, super good. 3 choices means that even with Baze, you're allowed to like kind of fit your gameplay style to like swarm or just single character damage, so that's really nice. And the fact of the matter that it's it's a solid damage side, and it's got a little disrupt just in case you need to throw some some stuff in there. And it's pretty affordable on turn 2 if you've already played a DH-17 or something like that. So. I like that card a lot.
Yeah, and if you roll special on him and Baze at the same time, being able to do 2 to each of an opponent's characters is
legit.
Pretty solid.
The shield with Guardian stuff's going to be nice too as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Holdout blasters, pretty much auto include in any range damage deck.
Yep.
If you don't have them, you should try to get 8.
Yeah, pretty much. The redeploy there is one of the best parts. I mean, the ambush is good, not especially good in this deck. Getting an extra action is always good, but there's other decks that leverage it a lot harder. The redeploy is really nice, though, because these are ones you can easily throw on a Rebel Trooper and not really care. And, then they just get redeployed later. So if you have some crap or you lose one of your upgrades, it's redeployed to another unit. And bounceable, but you really don't want to bounce this card ever because then you're going to get multiple actions, and so it's going to stay on the board. And it gives you a resource.
I like to redeploy a lot too because sometimes it allows you to get this multiple uses out of the same die in one turn, which could be pretty good.
There's always good turns when you get a redeploy to a character you haven't activated yet.
Oh yeah.
It like actually stops your opponent from wanting to deal damage, and since you have Guardian here, you can activate and kill your own dude almost, like, or something like that. Maybe if you know it's going to be a monk activation just to do something. I don't know why you do that actually, but
got Wingman.
Mono red decks, this card is silly. Like it makes your whole board like squad tactics kind of esque, which is also I think in this deck.
Yep.
So.
And I like putting this on one of the Rebel Troopers because if they have multiple dice out showing damage at the same time, you could just do 2 activations on both your guys, negate those dice, and then still have the rest of your turn to just basically do what you need to do with Baze.
Because you can activate Baze and then Guardian 2 dice away.
Yep.
The thing I like there is the ability to just like flatten out everything, and it's a zero cost resource thing, so you can action push, meaning like you can do something without having to pass to make your opponent do something. So like that's really good in decks where you want to push your opponent to be activating, or if you're leveraging any kind of like ready versus exhausted character stuff. So
especially with the Guardian keyword.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you're waiting for them to roll dice. So.
Yep. Got Overkill, which is just super simple upgrade, just lots of plus symbols on the damage side. Pretty much always so on Baze, and it has his art on it, so it only makes sense. So.
Yeah, I mean this card's almost a little expensive for what it does, but like when you get the train rolling in this deck, it's silly, like because you have 2/3+3 damage sides, and the amount of straight up damage sides you have in this deck is obscene. Like there's at least 2 on every die almost.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to do some modded damage, right?
Oh yeah. Got a 1-of rocket launcher. This could probably be a 2-of, but I like 1-of just since it's so expensive and whatnot. You really only have like rearm to discount it and whatnot.
Which is amazing card in red. If you aren't using rearm and you're running a hero deck, you should think about it.
Oh, yeah. This also plays real well with the Rebel War Room since all of its side requires a resource cost. So if you need to, you claim just to activate that die on its own, which is pretty solid.
And the nice thing about War Room comboing here is you can do the special side with War Room, and it's really nice because if you roll one of those sides, you are really in this deck going to want to pay to activate all the modifiers you have, if possible. And you can't actually resolve a card. If it dies resolved by a card, you can't mod it. So this is nice because it plays well with the Rocket Launcher special side, which lets you activate the special with paying the resource. So this is a really good combo for War Room.
Yep. Got the IQA 11 Blaster, which I love this card. Just bonus damage. You can generate a resource, could disrupt, but the 2 unblockable damage to a character is kind of what I like most about it, since there's a lot of decks right now that are kind of shield heavy, I've noticed. At least in the experience of I had playing, it might just be the people I'm playing. But
yeah, Collectormania has an interesting meta. We kind of do our own thing here.
Yeah. And then we have a 1-of training in here, which is basically just for an extra Rebel Trooper die. This card's kind of cutesy in the deck, honestly. But I've had a game where my opponent was playing the battlefield where you can move and upgrade from one character to another. So I got to put this on Baze, actually, and have it.
Well, Baze is already E, though, isn't he?
No.
He's not. Okay.
So he's 14. These guys are 8.
Okay, got it. So then you can E-Baze. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
In that magical Christmas land scenario, it's really cool, but otherwise it's just a little extra damage on the dice.
But it's good tech against decks that are trying to do that too. If you run like Palpatine TIE Fighter or anything like that where people are trying to leverage Cargo Bay, you now have a little tech against that too, because you're going to get bonus from that. When Seth and I had a conversation the other day about battlefields, and there's a few mentalities, but there's 2 outstanding ones where one time you want a battlefield that's really going to help your deck, and it sucks if your opponent gets it, but it's really going to help you or more than your opponent. Or you want a very neutral battlefield that doesn't swing things too hard. Like the big one right now is Moisture Farm because it just gives a resource. Like that's good for both people, but it's not something that's going to take your opponent to the next level when they're trying to win. And so playing 2 meta battlefields could be a really cool thing here, and training is one of those cards right now that's really important in doing that, I think. So. Yeah. All right, let's move to supports. There's still a lot of supports in this deck.
All right, so first and
last
only, we got a 1-of Outpost. I was considering moving this one up to a 2, just since the ability pairs really well with the battlefield ability itself. Just being able to resolve that as if you claimed it allows you to save your resources for stuff like playing more upgrades and whatnot, which is kind of important.
It doesn't end your turn, which is so good. And so, as far as I know, I mean, unless there's some weird ruling I didn't read, you resolve this die, you still get to keep playing, and you get, you get to resolve a die for free, or you get a cargo hold, or you get a resource, you get a Maz's Castle mid-turn, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of good stuff that can come from here, and I was like, almost training could switch out for a second, but
easy.
But this is a solid, cool card that is from Awakenings that a lot of people I don't think are using in decks very much. So
yeah,
but that is the only support. It's okay. It's a lonely outpost. First card on there is one of my favorites.
Yeah, this is definitely up there with my favorites. So hit and run, 0 cost, event, ambush, and activate one of your red characters. So it's essentially like a double ambush, it seems like, almost.
And if you do this with Wingman, you just activated all your characters at once, and you can resolve all that range damage on one character. So if you have this deck running like the train's supposed to, you have like 5 modded sides. You're not resolving with the diet with the card ability, so you can be like, I'm gonna do this one and then add like 15 damage or something total. So
it'd be real explosive.
This is the card that makes Pomaz run really well, and this is a card that any red deck can like just work.
Yeah, it's too bad it's a hero card because I feel like it would just
I'm okay
be
with being a hero card. Like I don't want like Krennic or something doing that. That'd be terrible.
All right, and we got Field Medic, which is kind of self-explanatory. Just keep your Rebel Troopers alive a little longer, or if Baze is taking a lot of heat, heal them up a little bit. It's not an incredible card, but in this deck, it's actually saved me quite a bit. Just being able to get an extra Guardian trigger off of one of the Rebel Troopers could be pretty devastating.
It's one of the better heal cards in the game, too.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 for 2 is better than Rejuvenation. It's better than the villain card. I can't remember, like, the one with all the Stormtroopers on it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a hero only, so it's pretty solid, especially when you got so many Guardians there, right? Like, we're talking about, like, healing those guys up so they can just take damage for days.
This is another one of my favorite cards in the
So
deck.
good.
It's Salvo, especially with like Rocket Launcher, even just Baze's own card itself. But it allows you to resolve one of your dice showing range damage against each of an opponent's characters. So if you have like Baze's 3 side, Rocket Launcher 3 or 4 side showing, you can put out potentially 12 damage with resolving just 1 die with that card alone.
And this card is a little different than Baze's ability for me, or the A180, because you're already going to be dealing 3 damage, right? And paying 2 resources, you can now multiply that, right?
Yep.
So it's not like, I mean, doing 1 damage or 2 damage is pretty good to all characters in some scenarios, but dealing like, if you were already going to deal 3, paying 2 to deal 3 more to another target is just so much more value for me in my head. I don't know if that's anything that makes sense, but Salvo is one of my favorite cards. It works really well with vehicles and stuff too, where you're rolling like support vehicle sides that have like 5 damage and dealing 10 damage in a turn to 2 characters.
Yeah.
Salvo is pretty much an auto include in any deck that's ranged for red.
Alright, and then this is Rearmed, the one we were talking about earlier. 0-drop event, play a red upgrade from your discard pile, decreasing its cost by 1. This is really good because if you do end up suiting up the Rebel Troopers and they die, you'll be able to rearm the stuff that was on them. Mm-hmm. Or even if you're just re-rolling dice, pitching your equipment to re-roll dice, you can use this to essentially cheat out bigger equipment faster.
Yeah. I agree. Like, the whole like resource storing on upgrades thing is awesome in this game, and rearm is like one of the cards that like makes it keep happening. So you can be like, drop a 1 cost, drop a 2 cost, replace it, rearm that to another one, and then you can like replace it again the same turn. So you can like chain out a bunch of stuff for this like 0 cost. If you have like these, that's why binning these DH17s is a good idea with rearm, because you can just rearm them for free. So solid red card. But again, only hero. So get good, Billy.
So, Squad Tactics, 0 event, activate any number of your non-unique characters at once. So, if you have a wingman on Baze, which usually doesn't happen, and you Squad Tactics, you could activate all your guys for 0, which is cool. Mm-hmm. If you have hit and run and do that, you could just do some like crazy explosive combo, rolling like 6 dice, resolving like 3 of them the same turn.
Squad Tactics is like it's like having 4 Wingman and Squad Tactics are having 4 like activate more characters at once thing. So pure active optimization, especially when one of the problems that I have in one of my like neutral or like non-unique decks is I have so many characters, I have to spend so many actions readying them all. So cards like Squad Tactics make it a lot better.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of like mono red villain decks with a lot of stormtroopers and whatnot, mm-hmm. and that card's just insane.
That's what I'm talking about, like storm type of thing with it. Yeah.
So we got Rebel Assault 0, play only if you have 1 or more dice showing range damage. Pretty easy to do with this deck. Remove an opponent's die not showing range or just showing damage in general. This is a little more of a defensive card. Keep your opponent from disrupting your resources or cards in hand. And if they have some sort of special ability like Crime Lord or something, you can shut that down with that too, which is nice.
Yeah. I wrote an article about the removal for all the factions, for all the colors and stuff, and this is one of the only hero red removal cards, and it's not... If you look at it compared to all the other removal cards, it's kind of crap, but it's really good for 0. You're already playing a range deck here. This is the deck this card is supposed to be in, and it's supposed to be good. So you can remove anything that's like special sides is the best one, like you said. Crime Lord, getting Baze Crime Lorded on like turn 5 is gonna suck.
And this one's cool because it doesn't really have any sort of like restriction. It costs 0. You don't need to remove one of your dice. So.
You just have to have it showing range, which is going to happen after you activate any character theoretically. So I like that too. I like that you don't have to remove anything and you don't have to spot. Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts about this card.
Pay credits for it. Even.
Yeah. It's a lot like it's a lot like Wolf, Cat, and Mouse, but again, you have to remove dice for most of those yellow ones. So
yeah. We have a 1 of defensive position. Play only if you control the battlefield. 1 credit. Remove all of an opponent's dice showing a value of 2 or higher.
Yeah.
This is kind of another one of those defensive cards. I want to say those are the only like disrupt cards in the deck to kind of stop what your opponent's doing. Because the goal of the deck is to basically just turn all your guys sideways, deal lots of damage, hopefully protect base.
It's kind of like a rush if you can get it going, right? Because a lot of these cards play to that whole like do lots of things in one turn, even if your opponent claims or something like that. Then if you're losing, you can start doing things like this where you're either claiming early or just kind of not having a lot of damage, so you're using it for other things. Yeah. I like defensive positions, but I wish it could be combo with lockdown, which it can't because lockdown's a villain card.
Yeah, this one, the only drawback is play only if you control the battlefield, which you won't in every turn, but some turns you might be able to get a good use out of that. This one's kind of in there as a spot holder for now. So. And
defensive positions is exactly what the card, it's like saying what it's for. Like, you want to play this card if you're losing, you discard it to reroll if you're not. Like, that's my opinion on that.
We have a 1 of take cover. This is kind of also just another placeholder, but I figured it's a 0 drop, give a character a shield. Not very good against the vibro knife or a lot of other unblockable effect stuff.
Yeah.
But still kind of just like a cheap little protect your rebel trooper card. This is another one that could easily come out for something like another outpost or another sniper rifle or something. So.
Yeah. So part of the problem here is that we just don't have enough awakening stuff. This one's cool.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. So 2 credit event, spot a red character to resolve an opponent's die not showing damage as if it were your die. So Magical Christmas Land, but if you're able to crime lord an opponent,
their own guy with crime lord.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Yeah. Or you can, that's really good for special sites like hitting Kylo's side, right? You get to resolve the die.
Yep.
So that means it's gone. So if you resolve Palpatine's die as if it was yours, he gets 2 damage, I believe. Maybe not. Because you were resolving it as if it were yours. Oh, maybe it doesn't work that way.
I think they would still get the Palpatine trigger.
But you can still do 3 damage to him for your 2.
Yeah.
It is a little expensive, I think, but it can be cool. It can be used in the right scenario to kind of twist something around.
And that's why I only have it as a 1 of, just because I don't think you'd want to run a 2 of, at least in a deck like this. Definitely too circumstantial.
Most of these like uncommon cards, which are just rare cards in my opinion, are ones where like they're going to be good pretty much a lot of the time. And even if it does cost 2, I see this being a really valuable card.
Oh yeah.
Except for Unplanned Explosion. I've never seen a deck with Unplanned Explosion yet.
Neither have I.
I want to see it though.
Like that. And then last we have a 1 of collateral damage.
I really like this card. I haven't used it yet, but like it's got a lot of potential to do stuff in the right scenarios.
And I could easily see the shield card become a second one of this just for a little extra disruption. This one reads 0 cost event, resolve 1 of your dice showing either any side of damage and force an opponent to lose 1 resource. So it allows you to do what you're wanting to do and deal damage anyway, but also adds the little extra lose 1 resource, kind of slows them down, keeps them from playing upgrades or anything like that.
Get an extra die phase, you can disrupt 1 with it for 0 resources, which is pretty solid in most cases. So usually what we'll do now is we'll go through like, what, not for you, for them, sorry. Is go through kind of like what we like about the deck and like what times it's faltered, what kind of stuff we like. I guess what kind of stuff we'd like to see in the opening hand, what kind of stuff we hate seeing, how you mull. So, what is the coolest thing you've ever done with this deck?
The coolest thing early is if you get something like a holdout blaster or wingman. Those 2 usually combo well together on the first turn, just to be able to get multiple activations on the same turn. Really the dream is to just suit up Baze with like a rocket launcher and overkill and just start blowing everything up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened with this deck?
The worst thing is drawing wingmans late. That's always kind of brutal because usually rebel troopers won't make it past like 3rd or 4th turn, honestly. So if you draw wingman after that, it just becomes something to pitch to your reroll your dice and whatnot. Something else I've noticed is it's a little skim on the resources. So there are some turns where you just really want to play like a A180 or a sniper or a rocket launcher, but you just can't like muster up the resources for it. I was considering putting in a logistics to kind of
That's a
fix
cool
that.
card. Yeah, it's just one of the only problems with logistics is usually that you don't see too many of these sides. But here you have 2 character dice that have them, which is nice.
Well, 3 including Baze.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So all 3 of them, and they have to be red, which is like I'm noticing that on cards like Imperial War Machine and Logistics and things like that, where it's like look at a red die, and I'm like, I want to do any die, like because I want to hit on a holdout blaster or something like that. But there's a lot of use there. Like I know when we had played, one of the things that I noticed was since we were like it started stagnating at first, and I started removing your one of, so like something I might say like is focus. Like if you could have any focus dice, that would be cool, or changing dice. Because if you do have a bad rollout and you don't hit any damage, you can either afford to pay for or just play right out. All your modded sides get like a lot less powerful, especially overkill, right? Because it's like you roll Baze's plus side and you roll like 1 rebel trooper ranged and an overkill 3, and someone just takes the 1 damage away. You have to now re-roll, and it causes you a lot of action stagnation, which in this deck can kill you because like all of these cards, like in this soul section here, are all about put stuff out and rush it hard and get extra dice and just do as much damage as possible. But so what's the best opening hand you can get?
Best opening hand, I would say probably something like
Put it here.
Yeah, definitely a holdout blaster. That card is just next level, if you ask me. Something like this for a little extra defense, maybe.
Sure.
Hit and run
On turn 1.
Turn 1, probably not.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, I guess you don't have to play turn 1. I'd like a wingman in my opening hand if possible.
Yeah, wingman
right? So
is
wingman,
probably
that'd be great
up there. And then from here, basically the rest of it is kind of just depending on what your opponent's doing. Obviously, some cards will be better than others. I usually like to have a field medic just to kind of show my opponent how annoying we're going to be.
I can see this being really good because you could pop this guy, maybe roll a resource side, get a thing. Yeah, I could see that being a really good opening hand because then you could like, or maybe even having another like 2 of in here, so like maybe an overkill. So you like holdout blaster, Baze, right? Overkill the holdout blaster, rearm the holdout blaster back into something. So that could be really cool as like any of those cards, just like just to get like 2 or 3 upgrades out at once and then start rolling out and like just killing stuff.
Getting an outpost early would probably be ideal too.
I worry if you got that in your first turn, you would be like really in tight bind to play it. Because like it's the one thing you can play where you can't like just play something on top of it, or it's like you're done. Like everything on your hand has to be 0. So
I kind of like this early though, just because it gives you the extra die and it gives you essentially 2 extra activations to allow your opponent to activate first to get your guardian going, slow them down a bit.
That's a good point.
So
and I definitely probably put out those 2 of in.
Yeah,
because you could easily like hit it harder, hit it more often, and get like 2. And
and that also has a focus side and a couple disrupt sides. So
I think focus in this deck could be terrible. Like because you're like, I'm just gonna turn this to Baze to 2, and maybe you like, it'd be cool. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that was informative and good. And this deck hasn't. I don't think it's won any tournaments yet, but we've played it a bunch. It's been pretty good. Win records like 4-1.
I would probably say closer to like 3-2 than 4-1, but it's definitely not on a losing record. Definitely has some tweaks that could be made.
So put it in the comments if you see anything that you think like we could use in this deck to make it a little better, faster, stronger, less susceptible to certain things. Put it in the comments, and
we'd love to hear from you. I'm sure you guys have some great ideas that we don't know about. So
we'll link it in the comments too, so you guys can check it out on Star Wars Destiny DB. So. Thanks for watching. Come down and play Destiny on Tuesdays and Saturdays, or really whenever you want if you get into the Facebook group. Collectormania FFG Card Games is the group. Just let people know that you're coming down, and we'll probably try to meet here. I think we're doing tournaments once a month, so that'll be on the calendar, so keep an eye out for those. And
this month will be on 17th of June.
17th of June.
And that's going to be a Saturday, starting at 12, so...
Yeah. That'll be $5 entry. Yeah. And it's packs, and if we have the OP kits, we usually give that stuff out too, so... Come down and get some packs if you haven't gotten any WoW. We're getting more soon someday. There should be some Awakening stuff coming in June sometime, and more Spirit of Rebellion because that is the set they're currently printing a lot of. So should have some more of that if you need it. But yeah, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.